So here's a narc story about my ex-husband, more specifically my ex-husband over my family this time frame around. But I had noticed very similarities between him and my narc sister, the main one, the mastermind one, is if they're not getting the full attention or being liked the most, whatever it may be, they will sabotage. So they are the full attention. And one of the examples I remember is when my older brother passed away. He lived across the country. So we were on our way to fly out there to go to his funeral, just myself, my sisters, and my brother. And I don't know if my ex husband was just having a hard time with the fact that he wasn't going or what his problem was, but um, I just remember back in the day before internet was Wi-Fi, we had the dial-up. So if you didn't have two phone lines and you were on the internet, your phone was taken from for the internet. So you couldn't get a call come through because obviously it's busy. And at that time in the morning, before they were going to pick me up to go to the airport, I wanted to keep the phone lines available just to make sure that we were for sure on what time they're coming over and all that stuff. And of all times that my ex-husband would have to be on the computer, which he never was on unless he was just paying bills or just necessity things, he just happened to need the internet that morning. Just, that's convenient. So, of course, he's on the internet. I kept telling him, can you please get off because I need it free in case someone needs to call me. And he would have every excuse. Oh, yeah, I'm getting off right now. But he never did. And he never did. And he never did. And then finally, my siblings, see, we didn't even have cell phones yet. So that's what I'm saying. There was no way of reaching each other except through the regular dial-up phone. So they finally came over to pick me up, and they were all pissed off at me because they couldn't get a hold of me. And I'm like, it wasn't my fault. This is the stuff that my ex-husband would do. He would do crap like this, and I would get the brunt of it, and he would let me take the heat. And I'm like, it's not my fault. He was on the internet. It wasn't me. And then it's like, well, you should have told him to get off. Like, well, why don't you tell him to get off? Like, how is it my fault? I did tell him to get off the internet. Like, that, oh my God, so many stories of that where he would do something, make broken promises to his friends, tell them we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then he never would follow through. And then they would make me the blame. Like, oh, it's my fault. Like I'm the one that like killed the idea, which wasn't true. And he would let them think that. And I'm like, that's not even what happened. You just make a broken promise. You don't follow through. I remember, so that the example is basically that's my story is, that was one example of him just trying to sabotage me because I was finally getting the attention, which wasn't good attention. I didn't want to go to a funeral, but it was actually the spotlight was on me, and God forbid that would happen. He had to sabotage that. But, go figure. I was going to say something else, and now I'm like totally drawing a blank. Let me put you on pause for a hot second. Okay, now I remember the story. We were at a bar with all his friends, and he was talking about, or one of his friends was starting to get into, not yet. I think he was talking about getting into skydiving. That's what it was. He was talking about it. And they've always mentioned it. Oh, I want to skydive. I want to skydive. And my ex-husband was like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. But he never would do it. And I kept hearing that for years. And finally, I just spoke up and going, you know what, dude? You're all talking over rock. Why don't you just finally do it? I'm so tired of hearing you. You need to if you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk. You make these broken promises to your friends. You never follow through. And I finally just like belted it out there because I was like, I'm so over you giving them these ideas that you're going to follow through, and then you don't. And then they blame me. So I finally put the kibosh on that. And they actually did finally go. And then that one friend of his actually took into more of it as a hobby and did it a lot more, blah, blah, blah. But it was just like, who knows? After so many years, I don't even know if any of these people hang out together anymore. But it's the one thing that bugs me is that, I took the blame and heat for a lot of things that I can never fix. And I guess it shouldn't really matter because these people shouldn't matter to me anyway. But it is kind of annoying that I couldn't clear the air. Like, it's just, they're going to think the way they think. I'm this, nag person who would ruin everyone's, like, his ideas, which wasn't true because he was the one making these promises and not following through. He did that a lot. This is why I don't like him as a person, as a human being. Like, he just is, a piece of crap, to be honest with you. I hate it when people don't follow through with something I've always followed through. That's why I'm like, that is not my character to be blamed for that. It really pisses me off. But the thing I made the mistake on was not having my own friends. So of course they're going to take his side for anything he says, and that's a bad mistake you should never do, is have your own friends. Um, I just kind of am a loner because I guess I'm used to that. With my sisters always keeping me isolated. Like, I don't know, it just, and then the way they would sabotage me anyway, a lot of his friends didn't like me. And now that I'm away from all of that, it's just like, oh my God, all the puzzle pieces are coming together. Why? Of course I would react towards the way they would treat me because I thought they were just being mean. But I guess, however, my ex-husband's no different, though. Him and my sister very well have a lot of things in common with regards to sabotaging people, because I've seen him do that with his ex-girlfriend. But I had thought at that time that his ex-girlfriend was a horrible human being. So I thought, oh my God, what's he doing dating someone like that? Now, when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't her, it was him, because he was doing that to me too. So this girl probably was a nice person, but he made her out to be a monster. And she wasn't a very friendly person, mind you, but it's probably because he created that. He would tell everyone she's a bitch and all these things, so they weren't being nice to her, so she wouldn't be nice to them because of the way they were treating her. And it's the same thing that him and my sister would do to me. I don't know why. It's weird to me that a husband would do that, but I think he just didn't like not having the spotlight all the time. So I never got the spotlight. And it was a huge mistake I should have never been involved in, is marrying him in the first place. Because when I did, it made me hang out with my siblings more because he was my brother's friend. And I saw sides of everybody I never wanted to see. And I'm like, it's kind of damaging. So if you ever see yourself getting into something like that, walk away from it immediately, because it's not worth it. Don't try to challenge yourself through it, because it is not worth it. It doesn't do you any good, and there's no good ending unless you go no contact. So anyway, hope this helps anybody out there, and comment down below if it has and what your story is. Bye.